I could still feel the excitement in Chengdu that night, even though it had been a few days. NBA Chengdu Game has always been a magnet for basketball lovers, both those who really understand the strategy of the game and those who just want to watch their idols perform in the arena. This year, one of the names that made the tickets sell out faster than usual was Dylan Wang, a young actor with an unusually strong star aura. As a resource person who is quite often behind the scenes of entertainment shows, I am used to seeing the enthusiasm of the audience. However, this time there was something different. Not only because Dylan took to the field, but because of a small detail that later became the big talk: his jersey number. Dylan appeared in a white jersey accented with blue, and on the back, the number 23 was clearly printed. The crowd cheered, partly because the number is legendary in basketball, but partly because Bai Lu's birth date is September 23rd. Non-arbitrary number. The jersey number in basketball is not just a decoration. It often symbolizes pride, identity, or even respect for a person. The number 23 is, of course, synonymous with Michael Jordan, the icon of world basketball. However, I know very well that Dylan is not the type of person who likes to follow the trail for no personal reason. A few minutes after the game finished, when Dylan was interviewed on the sidelines, he was asked by reporters, "Why choose number 23? Is it because of Michael Jordan?" Dylan smiled, his eyes twinkling, then answered in a relaxed but meaningful tone, "This number is special. It's not just about basketball, but also because I'm a fan of someone." As a person close enough to industry circles, I know those words are no coincidence. And I also know who he means. Bai Lu and September 23rd. Let me tell you about Bai Lu. Bai Lu is an actress born on September 23rd. The date was so attached to her identity that many fanbases even use the number 923 in their account names on social media. Every year, his birthday is always celebrated with great fanfare around the world. However, what many people did not know that night was that Bai Lu himself was present at the Chengdu Stadium, sitting among thousands of spectators. He did not sit on the front VIP bench, nor did he appear conspicuous. He comes with a simple appearance, wearing a hat and mask, as if just an ordinary spectator. And this is what makes this story even more interesting. Almost no one is aware of its presence. No camera panned it, no audience recognized. Only one person knows: Dylan Wang. Caught gaze. As the game progressed, I noticed how Dylan ran energetically. Every time he touched the ball, the crowd screamed, and every time he scored, the cheers grew louder. However, behind all that, there are small gestures that may not be captured by television cameras, but I who sit not far from the stands of the audience can see clearly. There was one moment when Dylan managed to score 3 points. Then instead of immediately celebrating with his teammates, he turned his head briefly towards the side stands. I followed the direction of his gaze, and it was there that I saw a familiar figure, Bai Lu, in his black hat, smiling faintly. It was not a smile for the public, but a smile that seemed like it only wanted to be shared with one person: Dylan. Interview after the game. After the final whistle sounds, the match is over. Dylan, who was still wearing the jersey with the number 23, was called in for an interview by the media. I was close enough to hear what he was saying. The reporter asked again about the number, probably wondering why Dylan seemed so serious about his choice. Dylan chuckled, stroking the sweat on his face, then answered lightly, "I am the same Jeffens people born on the 23rd. So yeah, why not? Sometimes numbers can be a reminder." I was silent for a moment. That answer sounded simple, but for those who knew Bai Lu's date of birth, the meaning was so obvious. It doesn't mention names, it doesn't give explicit hints, but the whole sentence feels like code, phytoclogy or fact. Many people will probably say this is just cococlogy. Ah, who knew Dylan had another friend who was born on the 23rd, some people commented. However, as someone who often pays attention to subtle interactions in the entertainment world, I look at it with a different perspective. Dylan never does anything for no reason. He knew the number 23 would lead to speculation. He knew the public would instantly connect with Bai Lu. And he knew, Only he was really aware that Bai Lu was sitting in the audience that night. So, is this a coincidence? In my opinion, no. It is a subtle, elegant, and meaningful form of personal communication. Audience and social media reactions. When footage of Dylan's interview spread, social media immediately excited. Hashtags such as hashtag Dylan Wang 23, hashtag Dylan Bai Lu, and hashtag NBA Chengdu Game are trending on Weibo. The comments of fans sprung. He's obviously speaking Bai Lu. Number 23, date of birth September 23rd, it is no coincidence. If he is in Jeffens with others, why should it be delivered at a big event like this? I'm sure Bai Lu is there, only she doesn't want to be seen. Interestingly, even though there were thousands of spectators in the stadium, almost no one was aware of Bai Lu's existence. That makes the speculation even hotter because only Dylan knows. Harmonious symbolism. I see this as a beautiful symbol. Dylan and Bai Lu probably never openly talked about their relationship. They kept their distance in front of the public, busy with their respective careers, as if there was no connection. However, behind the scenes, small symbols like this become their secret language. Number 23 on the jersey, a laconic look at the field, a light smile from the stands. Everything forms a mosaic of stories full of harmony. As a resource person, I believe that love does not always have to be announced in big words. Sometimes, enough with the numbers. And that night, the figure was 23. Stories from a close circle. Some people I know in industry circles have whispered interesting stories. Some say that before the game, Dylan himself asked for the number 23, although the organizers had initially prepared another number for him. He insisted on wearing the number. There were also rumors that Bai Lu had turned down a VIP invitation because he didn't want to cause gossip. He chose to sit in the stands of ordinary spectators, just to be able to see Dylan play without being the center of attention. These stories may be just gossip, but it is all the more affirming that there is a common thread that cannot be simply broken. Conclusion of resource persons. As I look back on that night, I realize one thing. The world sometimes gives us little signs that not everyone can understand. For some, the number 23 on Dylan's jersey is just a number. But for those in the know, it's a symbol full of meaning. A tribute, a reminder, and perhaps also a statement of unspoken feelings. And the fact that Bai Lu was present in the stands, unaware of anyone, but only Dylan knew, made this moment feel even more personal and special. As a source, I will not claim that they had a romantic relationship. But I believe, behind all the glare of the cameras and the roar of the audience, there is a silent language that only two hearts can understand. And that night, the silent language spoke through a single number, 23.